Tutorial is how to use a clipping mask in Photoshop to do a fairly common and popular effect, which is to insert an image inside of a text so it looks like the image is behind or bleeding through the font. Before you start, find a large image. It doesn't, just for practice here, just find something like a large background image that is relatively high resolution. Open up Photoshop, and you'll come up here to File, Create New, and you'll get this menu here. Okay. So then, just to set this up, change this. It probably will come up as pixels. Make sure you change it to inches. Height, and these things aren't super important right now, but just this makes it easy for us right now. Width 10 inches, height 10 inches. Resolution 300 pixels per inch. Make sure this is CMYK. Background on the contents white. Create. Okay, so this brings up our artboard in Photoshop. A quick shortcut to zoom in is Command plus in Photoshop, so we'll just go ahead and do that. Now, the way to import images into Photoshop is different than in InDesign. You will basically just navigate to wherever you have the image saved. So I think I just got mine on the desktop. I'm just using an image of coffee beans. So here it is on my desktop. All I'm going to do is click and drag down here until you get the green plus release, and it'll throw the image onto your artboard automatically. Okay, so before we move any further, I don't need these top and bottom white spaces, so I'm just going to use this here. This is the cropping tool. Click on that, and you'll see the square comes up around the entire artboard. Just use these, click and drag to come down and trim off the top and bottom unnecessary white space. Hit enter. Okay. Now, the next thing you're going to do is create a copy of this layer. So as you can see down here, when I created my document, I created a white background, and then when I inserted this image, it created another layer. As you can see over here, here's my layers panel. Here's the white background. Here's the coffee image. So what I want to do is select the coffee image, come up here to Layer, New, Layer via Copy. Select that. So, okay, so now we got two layers, coffee and copy, copy, coffee, copy, and coffee, white background. Okay, the next thing we want to do is add a solid white color. So you'll come down here to this little icon, the circle, says Create New Fill or Adjustment Layer. Click that. Come up to the top, solid color. It'll bring up your color picker. So just click and drag this little circle all the way up in the top left here. That will create a white layer. There it is. Now you don't need this background anymore, so go ahead and click background and then delete. Delete that layer. Okay, so now you should have three layers: the white, color fill, coffee, copy, and then coffee. So the next step is to drag, click on your color fill white and bring that down. Drag it until you see that little blue bar in between the two coffee layers. We want to put that white layer in between those two. Now come back up and click on your top layer, and then come over here. We're going to start adding type. So here's your type tool. It's different than in InDesign. You don't have to click and drag. You just have to use you click on the type tool and then click on the image. It will automatically create a text box for you. By default, it may have some other type of font or a size. For the purposes of this effect, you want a font that is, for lack of a better description, a fat font, because you want to have you want it to be large enough that the image behind can bleed through. So a good one for that, and you can find other ones too. Arial Black is a good one. And make it as large as you can, 72 font. Okay, and then come up here and click this checkbox, which means you accept that font. Okay, there it is. Now, the next thing we want to do is actually to create the clipping mask. So the first step, come back up here and select this top tool up here. Is kind of it's called your move tool. It's like your selection tool in InDesign. Come back down here and drag here's your, you can see when you created a text box, it actually created another layer and threw it on top of the other three. So now you have 4 layers: text box, coffee, white color fill and another coffee. So I want to click on this top text layer and then drag it, and I want to drag it in between the coffee copy and the white color fill. So at this point, oh, by the way, before I do that, I'll make a quick point here. Sometimes you won't be able to make sure when you do this after you create your text. This sometimes will be selected a different color, like that, for example. But to make it white, just highlight it and then come up here to the color sample and just do like this, all the way up to the top left. Okay. Again, though, I'll jump back to the clipping mask. Drag this text layer in between the top coffee image layer and the white, so it's the second one in the list. Okay. Then then you want to come back up here and select this one again, the top layer. Bear with me. Click this top image layer again. Then you want to come over here to this menu item, this little menu icon right here. Click that, and then create clipping mask. There you are. There you have it. Okay. Now a couple other things you can do. Let's see. You can resize this. Oh, one thing I want to do is I want it to say coffee. So come down here, select my text box layer, select my type tool, and I'm going to copy. Now, one way you can change the size and the positioning of this without losing the crispness of the font is to use the free transform tool. So what you do there is select your text box there, and then come up to where was it? Edit, I believe. Yes, edit, and then free transform. So that will bring up this box around your around the font, around the text, and you can use that to drag it and resize it. So I'm going to make that as large as I can. Move this over. Whoops. Huh. That's strange. Okay, then it's to crop off the rest of that. We'll come back up and use the, and also too, if you want to move around the image in the background, say there's something you want to show through on the font, but it's kind of hidden back here, you can just select that there, and then have your move tool, and then when you click and drag, sorry, you do on your font, excuse me, click and drag, and it will do that. You can move around the image behind that bleeds through the text. I believe it's the same thing with this. Yeah, that's right. Okay, then let's just crop the white space off. Enter. There you have it. So this is an effect that you could use on the cover of your magazine design. I have not used it on mine. The example I'm going to show you in a separate tutorial. But I did want to show you how to do it because it's a relatively easy way to make a cool effect. It is only a few steps. Excuse me.